If the Supreme Court rules the way the Trump administration is asking them to, forget about health insurance, forget about pre-existing conditions, forget just the whole thing. I mean, it's just, this is going to be a disaster. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Last night, in the dark of night, the Trump administration made another pitch to the Supreme Court. Now, keep in mind, 2 years ago, a conservative group joined with a bunch of elected Republicans, and I believe it's either 17 or 20 state attorneys general and or governors, all Republican states around the country, including Greg Abbott and his friends, and his attorney general, the governor of Texas, the governor of Florida, the guy. I mean, just pick your poison, right? They all joined together in a lawsuit before the Supreme Court, in which they made the argument that Obamacare was dead. They said no further analysis is necessary once this is the Justice Department last night. This is Bill Barr's Justice Department last night on behalf of Donald Trump and the White House. No further, saying this to the Supreme Court, no further analysis, of whether Obamacare is constitutional or not is necessary once the individual mandate and the guaranteed issue and community rating provisions are invalidated, which has already happened, by the way. The remainder of the ACA cannot survive. So 20 million people who are currently on Obamacare, and all of us who are getting health insurance from private for-profit companies, which even includes people on Medicare who have bought Medicare, Medigap programs to fill in that 20% hole that the Republicans demanded as the price for Lyndon Johnson passing Medicare back in '67. All of us will lose our protections against losing our insurance because of pre-existing conditions. All of us will be at risk of insurance companies saying, nah, we're not going to insure you because reasons. All of us are at risk of insurance companies saying, we are now officially pulling your insurance because we discovered that back when you were a teenager, you took a drug for acne that might put you at risk 40 years later for cancer. And therefore, we're not going to cover your cancer. All of us will be at risk if the Supreme Court makes this decision of health insurance companies saying, well, you've already cost us, $500,000 this year. That's our lifetime cap. Sorry, see you later. And no other insurance company, by the way, will pick you up. You just get to go broke or die. All of us are at risk of that. The Supreme Court knows that, as does the Trump administration, which is why the Supreme Court announced that they're not going to make any decisions on this case. They may hear the case this fall, but they're not going to make any decisions on it until after the November election. Isn't that sweet? Here in Oregon, we're seeing played out what is being played out in large scale all across the United States. The Chamber of Commerce and the billionaires are hysterical that while on the one hand they are literally funding. I mean, sign up for the FreedomWorks newsletter. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That's the group that the Koch brothers helped start, that basically funded and promoted the Tea Party, and now they were one of the very first groups to be reaching out to millions of Americans and saying, open the government. It's time to open the government. Funding this whole program of guys with guns showing up in Michigan and whatnot. I mean, that was more of a militia group, a local Michigan group that was affiliated with them. Well, on the one hand, they're saying open up. On the other hand, they're saying to the legislatures, please pass a law that we can't get sued if we force our workers to come back to work because we've done away with their unemployment insurance by saying that we're open. Therefore, you can't claim unemployment anymore, and people come in and they get sick and they die, or family members of theirs die. We don't want to be held liable for that. We don't want to be sued for that. And that's exactly what's happening here in Oregon. Democratic leaders in the Oregon legislature have agreed to explore protecting businesses from being sued if someone catches COVID-19 on their premises. This is from yesterday's Oregonian, our statewide newspaper here that is published by a New York-based company. But they resisted a call from 10 House Democrats to join Republicans in doing so in this week's special session. 10 Democrats joined the Republicans on this, but the rest of the Democrats are saying, not so fast. Sure, we'll consider this. They put together a study group. They added blanket liability protections could disincentivize employers and others from taking appropriate steps to guard against the spread of COVID-19. You think? I mean, this is the whole sales pitch that libertarians and Republicans have for deregulation. There shouldn't be any regulations because if somebody's injured by the bad practices of a business, that person can sue. And now they're saying, no, you can't sue.